I acknowledge that the Minister has been in last week for hours, and not disputing that at all. But since then, there's been a huge amount of documentation has arrived, that we have received new information. As I say, 23 memos alone from the Children's Hospital Programme and Project Steering Group. I have the list here. The ACOM cost benchmarking, the Department of Health, deeper communications, October, November, summary of timeline of escalation of costs. I think it's reasonable, because lessons do have to be learned in relation to this debacle. And you know, my approach here has been constructive. I know I often compare Sinn Féin's approach to the Clint Eastwood films of long ago. You know, when the cowboy arrived into town, the first thing they did was reach for the holster. Sinn Féin's first instinct at a controversy of this kind is to reach for the private member's motion.
Thank you.
No confidence. That's the political parallel to Clint Eastwood, you know.
It's finding difficult to come up with new excuses in terms of not supporting Sinn Féin's motion of no confidence and how he continues to protect Minister Harris. But indeed, I am glad to hear that there are at least a number of your parliamentary party that doesn't support your position, and I would appeal to you when you have the opportunity to vote no confidence in Minister Harris, because he is clearly out of his depth. And while you are briefing the media, let's put your money where your mouth is when you have an opportunity next week. In relation to the need for further information, the Taoiseach is correct that Minister Harris did answer questions for 9 hours. But what he doesn't tell us is that in any one of those 9 hours, he didn't at one time mention that he was aware of a potential overrun of 391 million as far back as August.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you,
that is the reason, and let me finish this point. It is because of the drip feed of information that we need further questions answering this. This morning, Ken Corley, to labour the point, this morning we got minutes from the Development Board. We still have 5 subcommittees where we have no minutes for them, but the Development Board clearly shows that the board knew of overruns in June. The Minister reappointed the entire board without asking them a single question if this project was involved.
Thank you, Deputy. Deputy, will you please resume your seat?
He needs to be in the chamber.
Will you please resume your seat?
To those who are directly accountable and holding this government accountable. And we will not be told by the Taoiseach what questions we can ask or what questions.
Will you resume your seat, please? Deputy Howland. Please. Okay, Deputy Howland.
I'm very conscious.
Please, can we hear Deputy Howland?
I'm very anxious to get on to ask a question. We've used 10 minutes on the order of business. My focus on this issue is as a former Minister for Public Expenditure, who in the worst of times was charged with minding money, that now seems to have been abandoned. Any notion of getting value for taxpayers' money. I want to ask a number of questions in relation to this matter, and I think there needs to be a process where that can be done. But I would like also the Minister for Public Expenditure to be amenable to questions, because it's not credible that his department was unaware of this incredible escalation of cost.
Deputy Eamon Ryan on this.
Oh, sorry, leave it.
All right. Can we take it that there will be a meeting immediately after this
Agreed.
of the Business Committee, and we'll address the issues you've raised on promised legislation? Oh, sorry, I haven't. That's today's business then agreed to, is it?
Yes.
When's Wednesday's business agreed to? Agreed, and it's Thursday's business agreed to. Thank you. On promised legislation, Deputy Martin.
Thank you, Taoiseach, I'm informed by parents of children with muscle wasting conditions, muscular atrophy and dystrophy, that the HSE Leadership Management Team will meet on February the 14th, when it's hoped it will come to a final decision concerning the drug Spinraza. I think it's a very, very difficult situation for the parents concerned. As you know, about 20 countries now in Europe have approved of this. The FDA in 2016 approved of this particular orphan drug for young children with this very rare condition. And many of the parents will say, ICU is very expensive for the system. Children with cancer and so on won't be refused chemotherapy. We're looking at about 25 children, I think, in the country that would benefit from this medication. and there have been ongoing negotiations. And every week is precious to those children in terms of how this drug can improve their capacity to deal with this condition. So I would appreciate if you could indicate when a decision will be made on this.
I'm afraid I don't have any information on that, Deputy. It's an independent process. As the House will be aware, I do know that last year 29 new medicines were approved using this process, and obviously what has to be considered in all cases is the efficacy of the medicine and whether the price being charged by the company is fair, given all the other demands for funding the health service. But 29 medicines were approved last year, and I'm sure that if the case stacks up, that a similar number will be approved this year.